Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It sounds like a lot of fun, but do they really go together? In this video, I want to talk about two of those topics: drugs and the dark side of rock and roll, practicing. Hey guys, I'm Michael Carrillo, aka Hexspa, and welcome to my channel. If you haven't done so, go ahead and click subscribe. I'm trying to build an audience of well-educated music creators and people who might want to hear my own original music. If you are a music maker and maybe you're struggling a little bit with not going crazy, then go ahead and check out the Mental Health for Musicians playlist for more content like this. All right, so just like Bill Hicks said, he said something like, drugs have had positive influences on people.
You never see positive drug stories on the news, do you? Isn't that weird? Since most of the experiences I've had on drugs were real fucking positive.
So there's definitely a lot of benefits to drug use, all the way from aspirin to heroin, which, you know, is supposedly a great painkiller. I've never tried it. You know, they both do similar things, but it's a sliding scale. And it seems like the higher you go up that scale, the more negative consequences you might face. Let's talk about some more chill stuff right now. There's benefits to drugs, and if you play music, you probably know that. If you smoke weed, it can really help you listen more deeply to music. You might be a mix engineer, and it might help you, you know, go do your mix checks, hopefully not in the car while you're driving. But, you know, hear things that you might not realize are even in the music, because you got your conscious brain and it has its routines. So sometimes throwing in a wrench into the works can help you perceive things in a new way. I kind of feel that way about alcohol too. You know, I love having my nights here in the apartment. I don't usually like to go out to bars and drink. So, you know, I'll go online, watch some videos, and I really love to put on my own stuff. And when I drink and listen to my own music, I'm like, man, why doesn't everybody like this? You know, it's like, I think my music is the most amazing music ever to be made whenever I'm having some beers. So I guess in that sense, beer can kind of help you get through self-doubt or whatever. So let me know in the comments how drug use has helped you guys in your music making. I know some people, who's the chick that did Come to My Window? I don't remember her name. Maybe you guys can let me know, but she said that she loves to get high and write songs. Now, I don't like that, you know? I used to play with some guys, and after I was younger, you know, but after a while I started smoking weed during practice. Not like during practice, but, you know, we'd go take a break. And I don't really feel like that actually ever helped me. I did it, it was fine. You know, you're young, you don't really care. We definitely did experiment with different types of substances. You know, was it to help creativity? No, I don't really think so. I think it was more of just a cultural vibe thing. But for me, mixing drugs with practicing itself or anything in the creative process is not helpful. Like, I can't imagine being high, making YouTube videos. I talked about this before. Or being drunk. You know, I started playing guitar when I was 10, and even the slightest bit of beer for me, I mean, there's some guys who think they play better. I haven't met one. There's a lot of people who think that they play better or they're more creative when they're intoxicated. You know, I think there's an axiom somewhere that says, write drunk, edit sober. That doesn't work for me at all, man. You know, I like to do my work and then later get on the party bus. So that's just me. And we talked about the positive. We talked about like what works for me. But let's explore some of the negative aspects of drug use as it applies to the creative life. And when you're doing this, try to objectively assess your situation. Are these things actually helping you in the creative process? Or is it a way to avoid the pressure of living a creative life? All drug use is going to have some kind of negative consequence. So if you're saying that, like I did when I was young, like weed is like a soft teddy bear, I mean, I don't know, man. it's not just a pure soft teddy bear. I can't really think of too many negative consequences of weed. I mean, obviously, if you smoke it all day, you can feel really burnt out, demotivated, and unfocused. So at the very least, you're facing that. I won't say that's worse than coffee. You know, you wake up really groggy after you've had your coffee, you become dependent on it. So I'm not like value judging here, okay? I'm just saying, like, when you're deciding to do something like this, be reasonable about it. You know, don't be like, oh man, you know, in a reactionary way against your parents. You know, my parents were so straight and I'm gonna just go nuts and I don't care. All right, well then at least know what you're doing. But yeah, there can be legal repercussions. You know, I knew a guy who got busted multiple times for selling weed, man. You know, I mean, that can't be a great experience to go through. So that's, you know, whether you think weed should be 100% legal or not is another story, because there's the people out there with the money and the power who disagree with you. They have their own agenda to push, and it's kind of like getting into a headbutt fight with a bull. So yeah, there's definitely legal repercussions to drug use, for better or for worse. And like I mentioned, your health, depending on what it is that you're doing. I mean, if you smoke weed for any amount of time, you've gone to that old bong in the back of your closet, you know, that you haven't cleaned. You're like, just take a hit out of it. And all of a sudden you have this massive lung infection for like the next 6 weeks. So even something as small as that, you know, you need to ask yourself, is it worth it? And, you know, be honest about it. I think a lot of people are in denial, like, oh yeah, you know, I do this and there's no problem. Well, maybe. Energy concentration, addiction, depending on what it is. You know, we see a lot of these famous rock stars who just kind of go down this road of difficulty, and part of it's related to drug use. And you got to put yourself in their shoes. Are they really happy about this? You know, I mean, did any of us get involved with music because we wanted to be like burnouts and suicidal? I don't think so. So yeah, like, be sure to ask yourself, is this something that's working for me or not? You guys can let me know down in the comments if you're doing any kind of, like, you know, self-assessment. How do drugs help? How do they not help? And particularly in your case, you know, are you someone who can just smoke weed all the time and you're good to go? Or are you someone who might think that's true? Yeah, another thing is the people around you might not appreciate it very much. I think we've heard of more than one band member getting ejected from a good situation because they couldn't hold it together. That's obviously when things have crossed the line. What this has happened in Guns N' Roses, and you don't need to be a huge rock star for this to happen. I mean, I'm trying to get my business together here, and I can't imagine that a lot of people would like to do business with me or collaborations with me if they knew I was this scumbag who just could not meet a deadline or, you know, give any project that we participate in the respect it deserves. If you ever have ambitions of not living in your mom's basement forever, then the drug use is definitely something that needs to be evaluated. I think Chris Lord-Alge said it best. I think people are asking him how to be successful as a mix engineer. He's like, put down the bong, get your hands out of your pants, and get to work. I don't know if he's speaking from experience. Hopefully, because, you know, other people probably need to use that mixing desk, but other people might care, you know? And so yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys have had any like blow-ups from band members, either you or someone else, because they just could not like realize that whatever they're doing has impact beyond themselves. So that's pretty much it, man. I just, you know, I'm trying to do this mental health for musicians playlist because living the creative life is difficult. You know, there's a video out there that says how mental illness and creativity are linked. I mean, that means creative people need special attention. I think we give a lot of attention to people who are autistic or have Asperger's or any of these other mental problems, PTSD, but we don't realize that just regular creative people can be struggling a lot too, you know, and we all like, oh yeah, you know, another musician killed themselves, and we're not really thinking about it very much. We're like, maybe they're on drugs. That might have something to do with it, which is part of the reason I wanted to make this video. But But yeah, mental health for musicians, it might not be the biggest trending topic, but I still think it's important. And I really just don't think that there's that much awareness about it, you know? I think the struggling artist is just sort of so much of a stereotype. I don't even want to say an archetype, but just something you assume is going to be the case. You know, you're like, they're weird, right? Van Gogh, yeah, just cuts his ear off. It's normal. This is what people do. But you know, a lot of people don't think that it has to be like that. There's a lot of successful musicians out there with plenty of money who are making great stuff. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I don't think musicians or creative people in general have to have it as hard as they make it for themselves. And you know, a lot of these old jazz cats like Ray Charles and whoever, even Charlie Parker, they never advocated for drug use. You know, they're never like, oh yeah, man, I played better when I was stoned. No, Charlie Parker was like famously embarrassed about one of his performances that he recorded when he was either like really drunk or like on heroin. But they'll say it's part of the culture. You get into it because these great musicians have done it. But ask yourself honestly, is this really helping me? Is this not helping me? Or in what scenarios is this good? I guess the last person I could leave you with was Phil Anselmo. You know, Phil Anselmo, the singer from Pantera, he seemed to really regret that period of time that he was heavy into drugs. You know, he had an injury, he started self-medicating, and he thought that was the answer. I'm not here to judge whether or not he did something right or wrong, but he doesn't seem to be too happy about it himself. So keep that in mind next time you decide that you want to take a substance. Is this helping my mental health or my life in general? Because if your life is all screwed up, it makes everything much more difficult. So yeah, comments, likes, subscribes, help me, you know, help me reach you in serving up great content so you can be more educated and check out my music, rock and electronic stuff, man. So Hexspa, see you in the next video. Peace.